So imagine you have a photo printing website which does the prints. So how would it do? Would you ask user to upload all the pictures from all over the sources? Not a good idea. So what you say that person might have the pictures in Amazon Photos and also in Google Photos. So how about if you can connect these two apps somehow so that your app can access photos which are already there in Google and you can just print it. So it becomes easy. User doesn't have to upload all the photos and it saves a lot of time. It's convenient. So your app gets a lot of business. Same thing you could allow Amazon Photos. Now how would it happen? So one way is you can ask for the ID and the password, which used to happen like way before. So on user's behalf, you can go log into the Amazon Photos, get these photos and then show him the user so that user can select whatever photos they want to print and print it. But this has a major flaw because once you get the ID and password for Amazon Photo, you can also do Amazon online shopping because they have SSO enabled, single sign on. So same pair of password works for all the Amazon services. So you can watch their Prime videos, you could do a lot of shopping, you might also access their Amazon Prime store card. So not a good idea. Same with Google. You can log into YouTube and can upload some weird videos, right? So ID and password sharing is not a good option. So what's the other option? Other option is oAuth 2.0 flow. So if you will go to the description, I have uploaded a lot of other videos about this to explain more, but here it's simple that you have a auth server like this service will get an access token, and access token would have some limited scope for the access, which means that you do the handshaking from your app, you request permission from Google. Once the user logs into the Google and authenticates himself, like proves his identity, then this Google service hands over a temporary code here. Then your app presents this code to in the back channel to Google and get a JWT access token which has the scope, so that once you use that access token on your behalf, like on user's behalf, this photo printing website can present this access token to Google and can only read the photos from the Google photo service only. It is limited. So you cannot log into the Gmail using that access token. You can do that. If you want that, you can request another permission. If user grants it, that's okay. If user wants to deny or limit it, that's okay. That's on user. And these access tokens are short-lived. So they have a specific life. After that they don't work, so they need to be refreshed and renewed. So there is not a lot of risk involved over there. So I'll also show you this thing in practical, but let's understand how this entire system works. So the first thing is your app. You can call it as the resource server. Second thing, you have the IDP, which is identity provider. For example, it could be the Google or Amazon. And then you have the oAuth server. So from your photo printing website, you go to oAuth server, then oAuth server talks to this IDP, identity provider, which can do the OpenID connect. And then this service, after doing the handshake, it's a two-step process. First it provides a specific temporary code. Once it gets the code, in the next follow-up call, it presents this code to make sure that this app is talking to this, so that it doesn't happen that in the single flow, if someone can bluff it or can fool this app, they get the access token. So this only it requests the code, it gets the code, then again it presents the code. Once it presents the code, it gets the token, access token, and then it hands over this token to this. Now the communication is directly from your photo printing app to Google. Each time whenever they have to do the like get the photo, they would provide the access token, and based on the scope of the photo, the IDP, the Google Photos website basically returns the resource which has been requested for. So I am going to show you this very simply, because you some of you who follow me, they know that how much I am demo oriented or practical oriented person. So I'm using the oAuth school, which is the oAuth server which is providing here, and I'm also using my Postman. So as I mentioned before, the step number 1 of getting the code, then step number 2 of getting the auth code, and then once your photo printing app gets the access code or auth code or ID code, then they can present it and each REST API call to request the resource. This guy validates this token which is being given by this app itself, and then it allows or denies based on if token is expired or token has the sufficient scopes and things like that. So this is the step number 1 of PKCE, proof of key for code exchange. So how does this request looks like? This is premasim.oauth.com. This is my domain. Now I am trying that when I would do the request, I want a code. This is my client ID which is trying to request the code. Then the scope is offline access, which means I need multiple tokens, maybe the ID token, refresh token. Then the redirect URL. Once the login happens, then how from where the redirect would happen basically. So how it works that once you go, you show the Google login prompt to the user. After Google login, where do you want the Google to redirect you? That's what this redirect URL. In short, this would be your own app. And then you have the code challenge and the method. So this is so let me explain you real quick before I make this call. I can just make the call. Everything works fine. Here you don't see redirect because it's Postman. So what we are going to do is we would try this similar thing in here. So I'm going to check this URL. If everything works here, we'll do the login. Now once we do the login, it is showing the Google prompt here. This is in my app, and it would say, hey, do you want to do the Google login? I would say yes. So since I have done it before, all the handshaking and permission is been given. Now Google has given this code. Google has not given the access token. It's this code. So I have to exchange this. So there is interesting thing in the flow here, in the Pixie flow. This is the code. So what happens that in the first request, I have passed a code challenge. Code challenge is nothing, but I have a code verifier. I have this number and then this random secret, I would say. What I did is I hashed it. Hash is a one-way function. So you cannot, based on the hash, you cannot generate the original value, right? So I have hashed it. So this is the hash value, hashed and encoded value. So in the very first request, I have passed it. If you would see here, so this is this value kind of which is being passed in the very first request. Now in the second request, once I get the code, so I got this code over here. In the follow-up request, I would, so this is a follow-up request wherein I want the authorization code. This is the redirect URL, scope, client ID. I also have client secret. So this is the code verifier, which is nothing else but the original value, 46. Like here 46. This is the original value. So server would know that previously the person who has sent this, then server is also going to doing the basically convert it, encode it and hash it and match if this value is same, which means this is the same person who is calling this. So there is no man in the middle attack. Now if I send this based on the code, so see what I got is this ID token, what I got is this access token. Now based on this access token, my photo printing app can now talk to Google, present this token, and can get the information. What is this ID token all about? So ID token basically has the identifier for the user, his email, his full name, and his other informations, which basically a profile which my app can use to identify user, create his account, and things like that. So please remember, ID token is a JART which has user identifiers. Access token is kind of opaque to the third party service. They can't understand, but whenever they want to consume any resource from IDP, they would present that token, and then after the validation of this token, the third party, which could be the Google Photos or Amazon Photo, would return the resource to this third party server. So that's how this thing works. Again, just want to conclude this. So what we learned here is the social login. Social login is something like that. So you can access photos or any information of any of these websites by connecting these accounts by using the oAuth 2 flow. And inside that there is a specific flow called as PKCE flow, which is proof of key for code exchange. So in the very first, there is something called as the implicit flow, wherein within a single request you get the access token. But if someone can fool it once, they get the access token, you are screwed up. So that's why they have a follow-up request. It becomes really hard to fool someone 2 times, right? So first time you send the hash code of your password, and in second request you send your code verify, which is a secret or the password kind of, and then once it gets matches and also the code gets matched, like all these 3 things are aligned, then you get the access token in the PKCE flow, which makes it more robust and more secure. So guys, for the security, cyber security, identity related, any such things, just you can reach out to me if you need any help. And thanks a lot for watching this video. Please share this with your friends and hit a like. My name is Prem Asimjan.